Okay. So, inventory control and planning. When we talk about, that's the new topic now. For inventory control and planning, when you talk for inventory control and planning, it is from the word inventory, and it connotes raw materials, work in progress, and finished products of the business. That's what inventory is all about. So when you say control and planning, you want to control it, you want to plan it, you are planning because of the future. You want to control it for orderliness sake. You want to control it to avoid wastage. You want to control it to get the right thing at the right place. So anytime we talk about inventory control and planning, we are talking about the act of looking at the future of the raw materials, the work in progress, and the finished product. That is what inventory control and planning means. Then inventory management has to do with the health of the organization. When you are a supply chain manager and your inventory, or a logistics person, and your inventory is not properly managed, you will see that the business will be sick. And that is the reason the logistics business will be sick. And that's the reason for the use of the word health. That's the reason for the use of the word health of the organization. The organization will be healthy. It will be healthy and getting healthier when inventory is properly controlled and planned. Am I communicating? Class, am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you can look at inventory from another dimension. This is another authority that seeing it as stock of items an organization keeps meeting internal and external customers' demand. When you keep it, but the first meaning is saying that those items you keep, they could be in form of raw materials, they could be in form of processing, they could be in form of processing material, they could be in form of finished products. So by the time it is finished, it becomes what you keep, but you can still keep raw materials. So the items is not just in isolation. It is a broad name for raw materials, work in progress, and finished products. That is what the item is all about. Then if you look at my screen, you will see the graphics for the circle of inventory control. You will see the circle, you see the KPI and adjust, you see the forecast, you see the set inventory goal. You will see that, class, where do you think is the starting point? Where do you think is the starting point?
Forecasting.
Forecasting.
No.
Inventory
No.
planning. Yeah.
No.
PI.
Okay, when you set the
Set
goal.
inventory goal. Set inventory goal.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Set inventory goal. That's your starting point. Thank you. Set inventory goal. So it comes here, you optimize your stock level. Optimization means, what do you need to reduce? What do you need to add? We are going to do real life. We are going to do don't let me use real life. We are going to do a practical optimization if there is time. That is where we'll be discussing the linear program. It is a calculation. It is a calculation. We are going to look at how we reduce cost. At what point is the cost reduced? And at what point is the cost high? That is what optimization is. It is not just about high. At what point is the production cost reduced? And at what point is the cost of making profits high? At what point are we making the highest profit? And at what point are we spending less to make highest profits? So optimization has to do with minimization and maximization. Then we manage it. When we manage it, we monitor our key performance indicators. That's KPI. KPI means key performance indicators. Then we adjust. Once we do that, then we do our forecasts. then it's a cyclical thing. So you can see that it has relevance. If you listen to that lecture, I said it that demand forecasting is like a sister to inventory planning and control. So for this objective, for this graphics, it is depicting the fact that you need to forecast, you need to coordinate, you need to store, and so on. But as we move on, we are likely to discuss it. So the inventory items could be divided into two. We have the independent specified inventory items, and we have the dependent demand inventory items. The first is determined by the item's usage history. That is independence. So it is the history that will decide what will happen at the top, which is the dependent. The independent is down, the up is dependent. So then in contrast, the later is determined by the manufacturing plan of the final product, in which the item under consideration is a component. Now, the history of what has happened in terms of sales, in terms of demand, what is happening to demand, the way the demand is changing, the history over some years is what will determine the next step of the manufacturer. The manufacturer is in the dependence inventory item, while the demand from customers is the independent inventory item. So if the independent inventory item changes or the items change, that suggests that there will be changes in the dependent inventory item. That's from the manufacturer. The manufacturer is now standing beside the dependent inventory item, while the demand from customers is standing beside the independent inventory item, taking into consideration the history of sales, what are the demands over 5 years, then what are the things that the manufacturers need to do for them to continue their planning. That is what this inventory item is talking about, especially as it concerns dependence and independence. The dependence is up, the independence is down. So the down is predicting for the up. Then let's look at the relevant inventory concepts. Now, the ordering costs. This has to do with the cost related to ordering raw materials for production purposes. So, advertisement, consumption, stationery, postage, rent for space, and so on. There are examples of ordering costs. The costs, it could be for everything that you will put, the cost of getting everything that you put together to produce. That is ordering costs. Then the carrying at the end of before the end of either this night or tomorrow morning, you will get all these explanations now online. Then the carrying the holding costs is, I hope you understand the ordering costs, all the things you put together for you to produce.
Yeah.
Class.
Yeah, yes, sir.
That is ordering costs. You want to produce, you advertise, you calculate advertisement, you calculate this, a lot of things for you to produce. Advertisement might not be there. It depends on the items that you are selling or that you are doing your logistics on. Okay, the carrying.
Sir, please, I want to ask a question.
Okay.
Yeah, does the ordering cost include the cost of the inventory item itself?
It depends on how you look at it. Now, if in my own school of thoughts, in my own school of thoughts, I will say the ordering costs is majorly is like the bigger umbrella that is holding every other kind of cost, but it is just emphasizing on whether at the end of the day, everything we put together for us to produce. So the question is inventory part of what we put together for us to produce? That's the question.
Yes.
That is coming from your question. Okay, how? How?
Yes, because without the inventory itself, the production cannot occur.
So
Yeah.
So in that direction, as long as it's part of what we put together to produce, we can put it in. The school of thought is saying that when you put all those things together with a view to producing, you can put it as ordering costs. Now,
I don't think ordering cost is a cost of inventory at all. At all. Ordering cost is like admin cost, administrative cost. It's not cost of inventory at all.
It depends on, okay, let's look at it from this angle. I think it should depend on the school of thought you are looking at it from and the item. Give us an example now, like the item you are working on. From your own school of thoughts, which item are you putting in perspective?
Okay, for example, I want to produce a furniture or a bed.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. The ordering cost is, if you look at the let's say I'm a large scale furniture company.
Yes.
You know, you also mentioned advertisement.
As the item.
Advertisement. Yes,
the item.
Yes, advertisement is also a way to say, okay, advertise that every supplier of wood, every supplier of gum, every supplier of adhesive or abrasive or the other to bring in their quotations. You understand? All those ones are inside the ordering cost. The transportation I used to, you understand, the telephone calls, all they are ordering costs, but the item itself and is not the ordering cost, is an inventory cost. The inventory itself or the raw material itself is not part of ordering cost.
You know what we will do? Let's finish with all these costs. Then we'll now place them just as we did to the issue of those three principles. Let's go through the three. We have gotten the school of thoughts of both of you. But when we finish the three, the reason why I don't want to fully take a side is because I want us to get the school of thought of the authorities we are relying on and key into their major messages. So let's look at carrying or holding costs, for example. When we get the attribute of each of them, you will see that it will be easier for us to place where the ordering cost is. For example, when we started, we said ordering cost. An authority said it is about the stock, the items in stock. And another authority is breaking down the items into three. 1, raw materials. 2, in progress. 3, finished products. You get the point now for the inventory itself. So that's the pattern I want us to use to look at it. Then we'll situate it. It will be very clear. Let us put that question on hold. Now, the carrying cost based on these authorities is coupled with carrying or holding inventory. These costs generally includes the costs such as rents. You can see that I didn't see your name. The last person that spoke. What's your name, sir?
Lawrence.
Mr. Lawrence, you can see that immediately inventory cost is coming in here because you pay for the rents.
Yes, sir. Okay, now let me just say something for a second. Peradventure, I spend all that money. I place call, I invite suppliers, maybe if a good, you understand, a big, when we're talking about logistics, is really most times you have to do with
item in consideration is important.
No, I understand. At the end of the day, after spending all those things, I don't finally buy the inventory or the raw material. Would I say it's part of inventory cost? No, it's not. Ordering cost is completely different. Maybe when we look at
Let
it
us-
from financial
let
management
us-
angle, sha.
Don't worry, we'll situate it properly. I like your I like the position of your argument, but let us get the attributes for each of them, then we'll now situate it. Please just stay tuned. We have to situate it properly. Now, the carrying costs is we cannot agree that the rent we are paying for that space, which the carrying cost is the holding cost, and the carrying cost is equal to the holding cost. At the same time, it includes rents for that space. It includes interests on the money. It includes lockup. It includes insurance. It includes taxes. It includes depreciation of equipment, furniture, and so on. So let's hold that one. As long as there are relevant costs that is helping us to keep those items. And when you keep those items, local government will come and say, you are using that space for business. You pay even if it is a warehouse. You pay for it. If you are insuring it in case of thefts, it is still under the carrying cost. If there is a depreciation of the furniture that is carrying those items, you also pay for it under the carrying holding cost. Okay. Now, that is for the now setup costs. As setup costs, cost of setting up machineries before starting production is general. This one is clearer. Do we have any argument on this?
No, sir.
Now, if we are in between, okay, let's go to this one. Is before you start the setup costs. To be independent of the quantity on
Same as capital.
so it is relevant to capital before you start the production. You use part of your capital in finance. I think Mr. What's your name? I believe you are in finance. What is your own financial definition of capital? Help us with your financial definition of capital so that we can situate it. Then our destination is to situate where the inventory cost comes in. This one is clear that the inventory cost is not part of this. Are we on the same page? Class?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Now, shortage costs. The penalty cost for running out of stock. When an item cannot be supplied on the customer's demand, is known as shortage costs. The cost includes the loss of potential profit through sales. This one is also clear. You are unable to meet the demand and people are coming. You know how much you would have made as profits if they have bought those things, if you have them. Class, I hope this is also clear. They want to buy those items, but you don't have them. Because of that, you have shortage costs because you would have made profit if you have that item. So, before we go to types of inventory. Now, if inventory has to do with class, if inventory has to do with raw materials, work in progress, and finished product, and it also has to do with items in stock, we are now in between the all these ones, all these costs, they are under the relevant concept. We are in between ordering costs and holding costs. So from these authorities, I will say that the carrying costs, inventory cost is under the carrying cost. How many of you agree with me, and what are your reasons?
Yes, sir.
Consider that example.
It's under the carrying cost.
Yes, it's under the carrying costs.
Yeah, because
So now, yes, I'm listening.
under carrying costs, there is cost for rentage, as in the warehouse or the storing where you are going to put your items. Although it might be owned by the
Yes.
company, but there should be a cost attached to it, even though it's owned by that same company, because an inventory, that the usual saying, an inventory is costly. So for using a particular space, there should be an assigned cost to it.
Okay, I have a question for the class. Where do you place the item itself? Under which of the costs? Now, keeping the costs is one thing. The item is one thing. Where do you place that? And is that part of inventory? Is the item itself part of inventory? What's the name of the person that spoke? I want him to respond to this.
Name is Kehinde. The item.
No, not you, sir. Not you, sir.
Okay.
The man, is it Mr. Patrick? Or is it Mr. Patrick? Mr. Kennedy, your point is very clear. Mr. Patrick.
No, Mr. Lawrence.
Mr. Lawrence, yes. Please, I want you to shed more light on these aspects. I want you to shed more light on these aspects. The item you buy, going by what inventory is, the item you buy, where do you place it? Under which cost do you place it? And the facilities keeping those items, under which cost will you place them? Do you understand my question?
I understand the question. Please, can you, maybe it's a bit tiny, can you slide so that I'll see the costs that we mentioned? No setup.
No.
I saw setup costs. I saw
Ordering costs, carrying costs,
holding costs. Holding cost.
yes.
Holding is carrying. Holding is carrying.
Yes, holding is carrying.
Yeah.
Holding is carrying, ordering costs. Then we also have the one that has the setup cost for beginning, then shortage for wastage. Shortage in the sense that you don't have it. So we said we are not putting it under shortage. We are not putting it under setup. Setup is beginning. Shortage is if you exhaust it. Carrying is also clear about. So I'm not saying that where do we place these two things that are not the same?
Okay, sir, if we must place the inventory in any of these four costs, we'll place it in ordering costs. If we must place it in any of these four costs, we place it in ordering costs.
Now, I'm not asking you. I hope that's the voice of Mr. Lawrence.
Yes.
I'm not asking you that in the cost of inventory. The cost of inventory, do you put the item costs as part of inventory, or the cost of keeping the item as part of inventory?
In terms of inventory, we should do both. Cost of keeping the item and also the item costs. You know, in terms of inventory, because if you look at it, sir, inventory houses inventory is all of them are subset of inventory.
So in that respect, where is the place of inventory in ordering costs and holding costs? Where is the place?
If I had to be distinctive, the place of the place of inventory, that if we must place it in one and we are not going to maybe some part of it.
If you have to place it in two, what part of inventory do you put in ordering? What part of inventory do you put in holding?
Okay, the part of inventory that we put in ordering is the part the
item.
Yeah, the item itself. You understand? So in order, yes, in order not to duplicate costs, which may also cause an accounting issue. You understand? We cannot also put the item in holding again. So it will be
Very
in
good.
ordering.
I like the use of that word. Who was the person that spoke before Mr. Williams? I like the use of that word. In order not to duplicate costs. Please underline it. Write it down and underline it. We place it there. In accounting, and which is key. You don't do it without considering the accounting implication, the financial implication, the auditing implication. So that is very clear. I like this. Mr. Utibe Akpanudo, we are listening to you.
Okay, thanks. My answer have been up to bring a little perspective, because when we talk about the items itself,
Yes.
we talk about the ordering cost and the holding cost.
Yes.
Now, there are different school of thought. The item, I work in an organization where we order materials. Then from the ordering of the material, the logistics, the warehousing, and where the item will be actually used. Because it's not very clear when you talk about the item. The items, a lot of folks, items may be in a warehouse or inventory that has the final destination of use, either for production, then and all that. So I want to chip in through that process. That item come in from the ordering cost. There is what we call unit of product, cost of production of an item. But typically you want to produce a toothpick. The whole process, when the toothpick is out, now all the cost is built up from ordering, storage, transportation, and then at the cost where that item needs to be sold, you now calculate the unit cost. So where the items actually goes to for final production or final use or to be sold to make for the company to make profit. So that should also be considered, because if the items is in a warehouse, it's not there forever. It's there for a purpose, either for selling, or if you're a logistics company, you don't make use of that item, you need to move from one point to the customer. So probably you are not the owner of that item. You're just like receiving it, transit, warehouse, and then send it to the customer. So you need to be very clear about when you refer to an item, what is the end product or the end destination of that item. So that will help in terms of knowing where the cost should be and where it shouldn't be.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now, I like different schools of thought, and that's why I always tell you that let all of us always come to class with an open heart so that we can look at it from different perspectives. I don't like sacrosanct rule with an open heart, so that we can make proper placements of these issues. Now, what I will advise you to do is that, for example, Mr. Williams made a point of for us to avoid repetition.
Lawrence, sir.
Mr. Lawrence, yes, he made a point of avoiding repetition of cost. So you have to get the salient issues for each of those concepts in inventory. Which are those costs, the salient issues, and key to that salient issues, and make your arguments, justify your arguments so that you can properly position them. For what purpose? For what is the major thing that item is doing? It will not lead to you choosing which of the costs that it will belong to. So thank you for that very productive interaction. Okay, so let's quickly touch the types of inventory. The types of inventory. Okay, after the shortage, we have back order due to lack of readiness access stock. Back order and order not fulfilled due to a lack of readiness accessible stock. The product ordered may not be available in the firm current stock, but may still be in creation, or the firm may require further production. So this back order is different from the shortage costs. Don't let us get it twisted. Shortage cost is that you don't have it. But in this case, back order has to do with the fact that it is not accessible, maybe because it is still in process, or there might be a need to increase the quantity. That is why it is a back order. Then the lead time, we have discussed the lead time before. It is still part of the concepts of the inventory. So all those costs, lead time, back order, they are part of the concepts of the inventory. Then the next is types of inventory. And it is based on their nature, purpose, and inventories. That's the basis for classifying them into types. Now, based on this authority, the pipeline inventory is all about items in transit between the different locations of a supply chain, just like the raw material points and the final production points. And it could even be from the inbound logistics points alternatively used. Then the inventory may be on its way to the factory. So I want to use the inbound logistics, which has to do with the internal logistics, and they relate with the external supplier for that raw material. So it could be in transit between your own location and the first location of sales. Then it could also be a way to factory from large distributor. The item could be on the way before it will get to the factory where it will be processed. That is for the pipeline. When you say it is on the pipeline, it is from the logistics. It is from the logistics term. Then the buffer inventory. Okay, Mr. Utiba.
Okay, thanks. I just also want us to make some distinction here. What do I mean by that? When we talk about raw materials, yes, some organization will probably have a logistics maybe put into production where you have in-house logistics that look at all the budget, the handling of material from raw material to distribution and all that to customer. Now, when we talk as a logistics company, just as standalone logistics company, I think we need to give some perspective there. Just like maybe Ghost is good, you don't produce anything, you have need to move items on behalf of your client. So I just want to how do we bring balance into it? Because in that case, you are not responsible for either production of it. You're just getting in the materials, warehousing, transport it, and deliver to the customer.
Yes. Okay. Now, the place of the logistics in the pipeline inventory, the place of the logistics is that you might have some packaging materials that you still need to couple for you to do your logistics business. And the raw materials, maybe it was half processed before it gets to you as a logistician. You as a logistician, you want to transport it, you want to take it out of inbound to outbound. So it is not really a significant kind of raw materials, but part of packaging material, sort of. And maybe there is a company that is supplying you for you to use to enhance your own business. You get it halfway and you couple it. You have some materials to couple it. And it is coming in form of small kind of studio, one kind of small production. So it is not that you are really involved in that big supply chain origin, but because you are getting some complementary products to do your own logistics business, and it is coming as raw materials, half processed, and you complete the processing, you fully package it. At that point, we can say that you have an insignificant part in that pipeline inventory, because it is basically applicable to the full supply chain, not the full logistics. But in the inbound side of the logistics, you have relevance to that, but it might not be as significant as someone who is fully in the supply chain network, like an industry organization who is fully in the supply chain network. So that is just the difference and the place. It is in the place of the inbound logistics, and the significant level is not as much as that of the entire supply chain network. Now, the buffer inventory. Inventory maintained it is the inventory maintained to meet the average demand during the lead time and emergencies, transportation delays. So this buffer inventory is also applicable to the forecasting that we are talking about. You are making forecast for emergency situation. You are making forecast for, let's say, you have the total number of fuel that you're supposed to use between University of Lagos and Ikorodu, and you are now factoring in that there could be delay. There could be delay, so you need to get additional fuel. If it is half tank that you take, you are now getting the buffer. You are taking the buffer into consideration by giving that person double of what that person will need in case of delay on the road, or in case of any kind of emergency. Maybe there is a need for you to, the driver conveying members of staff. Maybe there is an emergency to a staff and the person needs to branch somewhere. So you take the buffer inventory into consideration. Then also, if there is pandemic, it is the buffer inventory that will take care of that. And if there is an issue and that issue is still ongoing, you don't know the next number that will be affected, that will be in need, that is also applicable. Anticipatory inventory is also synonymous to buffer inventory, but this is talking about additional finished products or raw materials bought by an organization to meet anticipated demand. It is just like it's a synonym of the buffer inventory. You buy it to say that, okay, something is, you are anticipating it, but for the buffer inventory, you are not anticipating it, but it happens. It happens. That's buffer, but you anticipate it. That is for, you say, okay, there could be a wastage, or maybe one of the members of staff do not know how to feed in the machine, or do not know, one of the members of staff is not patient enough with the product, and one of the rights of logistics is tampered with, especially the right condition, and the condition of that product you want to ship has issue. So you have it from the inbound logistics end, and you quickly make use of it. That is the difference between the anticipatory and the buffer. The coupling inventory, the stock is maintained to reduce the dependency of various stages of the production. So you try to bring the stages of production, you try to bring it, like some stages that could be matched, you try to bring them together in the process of production. But this particular one is majorly applicable to the supply chain, just like what Mr. Utiba, I think it was Mr. Utiba, what he identified. So that is the same thing that is happening to the decoupling, that what is the place of logistics in this inventory. It is more applicable to the supply chain network. Then the inventory planning, it has to do with forecasting demand and making the right decision about how much stock and when to order. So the aspect of the price and the time, the cost and time, is very, very pertinent to inventory planning. If there is no cost and time, the inventory planning is not in place. But if you forecast considering the cost and considering the right decision, considering the timing, that is where the inventory planning comes to play. And that is why on the slide, you have that aspect in bold. You have it in bold. So what are the benefits? What are the benefits of inventory planning and control? The first one is that it reduces the total cost of inventory. The next is that it optimizes inventory allocation routes. The next is it always have a necessary product to meet customer need, to avoid overstock products, then increases customer satisfaction through sales protection. So there is customer satisfaction, there is total costs, there is reduction in the total cost of inventory. How can somebody explain how we can, how does inventory management and inventory planning and control, how does it reduce total costs, the total costs? I don't want to repeat inventory. Who is attempting? How does it reduce total costs? Class. Mr. Otibe.
Well, let me make some attempts based on some practical experience. When you talk about the total cost here, because you have the withholding cost, you have, if you don't manage your inventory well, probably you can have a surplus or oversupply of materials, which the cost to also what I did not see there is preservative or preservation, because at some point you need to preserve these materials based on there are some materials required.
What if the raw materials doesn't need, like, what if it is not perishable stuff?
Even either perishable or not, holding cost covers preservative. So what are we duplicating?
And so what I'm saying now is that do you still say that you will not reduce costs when you have surplus, when it is not perishable? I know we are.
Okay, I think it all depends on material category. In that down to the category of.
Do you know the reason? Do you know that some people became billionaire when this present administration, when they came on board? There are people who have non-perishable products in the house.
Yeah.
They have
so it
taken
depends on the materials.
Yes, in terms of the material. So how do we say that it is reducing cost? So we have to justify anything we call benefits. To me, even if dust full everywhere on that product, for example, maybe electrical product, even if you have dust on it and they are not paying somebody to clean it in that place, do you know that, do you know how much a bag of cement was before this? Do you know that some people who had a trailer or bag of cement, do you know how much they will make when the new administration came and the price changed? It is now around average of 10,000, if I'm correct, for a bag of cement. Early last year,
so stock. Yeah, a lot depends on the materials.
Exactly.
And, it depends on the materials.
Yeah,
because
so
inflation, some may also beat inflation by having So let me stop there. It all depends on the materials and the market reactions.
So anything, when you see benefits, don't just take it the way it is. Make your case, justify it. Like the one that we discussed earlier, that okay, I want to follow the school of thought of Mr. Lawrence and say we don't want to repeat cost. We don't want confusion in costs. So that is it. So you have to make case for the benefit. It is not sacrosanct that after all it is on the slide. No, we have to make case for it. And that's why it is a professional program. Optimizes inventory allocation routes. always, so in that direction, we can, that was why I took time on this first one. In that direction, we can now see how, and I told you that when you hear optimization, it doesn't mean that everything is maximization. Optimization is both maximization and minimization. It now depends on what you are maximizing, and it depends on what you are minimizing. Then, when you have inventory, you always have the product to meet customers' need to avoid overstocking product. Overstocking, so increases customer satisfaction through sales production. So those are the benefits of inventory control management. And inventory control here is also talking about what and how many items. So the difference between control and planning is the aspect where the planning is emphasizing on the forecasting and the costing. The forecasting carrying along the costs, while the control is talking about what and how many and quantity, the item and the quantity, so that you can do proper control. So it also determines time and quantity of various items to be procured. Inventory managers often make the following two fundamental decisions, which I'm not discussing now. Now, the concept of economic order quantity, I believe you must have done this in any of your logistics or supply chain courses, EOQ. If you have not done it, I believe you should do it. You should do it. You should have done it in one of the courses. Class, can you confirm that? Have you done the EOQ?
We haven't.
No,
I'm
sir,
not
we
sure.
haven't.
We haven't.
Okay. There is a good example here. It has to do with, at times you call it Q. It depends. Somebody from finance, somebody from economics, me, I'm from logistics. So I know it as EOQ. And another person could call it Q. So it is the other side which minimizes the total cost, annual cost of carrying inventory and the cost of ordering. So what this EOQ will do for you is to help you to minimize the total cost, to reduce wastage, the total cost of carrying inventory and the cost of ordering. You can see that this is capturing the item itself and the cost of keeping the item. So it is a concept that is helping us to minimize the total annual cost. And this is a good example. The EOQ, that's the square root of 2ds over h. There are, if you go online, you will see 3 different formulas for EOQ. But I see this as another textbooks. If you consult some textbooks, you will see no less than 5 different formulas. But of them all, this is as good as the simplest. This is as good as the simplest. So this formula is just a square root of 2ds all over h, where d is annual demand, s is ordering cost per order, h is holding cost per unit. So let's quickly do, let's quickly have an example of it. Let's have an example of it before we go to inventory challenges. An example of it is that, let's say we have the annual demand to be 5,000. Are you taking notes? Class,
Yes, sir.
just quickly. Annual demand, write 5,000. Annual demand. That is, we have solved for D, right? We have known our D. What else? We need to know S. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Ordering costs, let's put 2,000 naira. 2,000 naira. Now holding costs per unit. Holding costs per unit. Let's put 500 naira. So okay, now for the holding costs per unit per year, okay, let's put 3. Let's put I want us to be careful of ordering cost per order. Per order. How many did I give you for per order?
2,000.
Very good.
2,000.
Now, holding costs. Now let's do 200 naira times 12 is what?
What?
200 naira times 12.
22,400. 2,400.
2,400. Thank you. So per year, don't forget, per year, 2,400. That is, the unit of measurement is per year. Is that clear?
For what? For holding
For
cost?
the holding cost, yes. Per unit, per year.
So
Per unit.
per year in terms of months.
In months is 200 naira. So per year is our business. So that means per unit per year is 2,400.
Okay.
Annual demand. That's D.
5,000.
Annual demand. I say 5,000. Yes. Ordering costs per order. Let's use 2,000. So compute it. Let's see what you have as EOQ.
So you have not given us for S.
You gave us
S. I'm giving X ordering costs per order. Have I not?
You have
24.
What's the cost that I gave?
2,000 naira.
What is holding cost per unit per year?
2,400.
Thank you.
Ordering cost is 2,000.
So for the purpose of when you are listening, so that you'll be listening to yourselves, our formula of EOQ have evolved the simplest of them. I told you on textbooks, on books, on online, you can get not less than 5 different formulas. But this is like the simplest, that is very straightforward. Instead of breaking it into per unit, we have gotten it holding cost per year. Ordering cost, we have gotten it. Then, which is the first thing you see in the formula is D, and it is the annual demand, which we agree to be what figure?
Okay.
5,000.
5,000.
Thank you. Our S is the next thing you will see. In the form, please mute if you are not talking. Mute yourself if you are not part of this. So S is the ordering cost per order. Did you see S there? What's the first thing that you need explanation for? D. Do you understand what D is?
Annual demand.
Annual demand.
Annual demand.
Do you understand what S is?
Ordering cost.
Ordering cost.
What's the figure?
2,000.
2,000.
Thank you. Now, the holding costs per unit per year.
2,400.
Okay, thank you. So can we compute and let me see what you have?
9,400.
We are compute the EOQ and do the square root. Now,
91.3.
Look at this formula. Look at this formula.
Yes, it's 91.3.
Look at this formula first. This is square root of 2ds all over h. Not multiply. Square root of 2ds. 2ds is the denominator. Is the numerator. Then it is the denominator.
I got 2.88 to how now solve now.
Yeah, another person.
I got 2.88. I don't.
Okay.
So I got 91.3. Yeah, I got 91.3.
I got 2.89. I don't know.
I have 91.3.
Well, short now.
Did you root it? I hope you have done the routing.
Yes,
I
with
did.
the routing, 91.3.
With the routing is 91.28.
So that is the meaning of that. That is the order size you need to have for that item. That item, the item and their specifications that I gave you could be in any, it could be any kind of item. I don't want to mention anyone. So what you have gotten means, and what you need to do in your final answer is that because those items, they are integers, they are whole numbers. Integers are whole numbers. You don't leave them at dots. You round them off to a whole number. So if it is 91.7, if it is 91.7, what will be your final answer?
92.
92.
91.2.
It will be,
If
if it is 91.7, if it is 91.7, what will be your answer?
92.
It will be 92, approximately 92. Now, the 92 means that this is the size that you will keep, the number of items that you will keep in order to minimize the total annual cost of carrying inventory at the cost of ordering. So, you know, one of the benefits of inventory is we don't want wastage. We want the exact number. Even if we have different types of inventory that is saying we should take care of emergency, we should anticipate. That doesn't mean that doesn't still mean that we should not take our time to do some estimations to know what is this economic order. It is that size that will help us to minimize the total annual cost of carrying inventory and the cost of ordering. So you don't just continue to spend. You say what? To avoid overstocking. Thank you. That's the application. You know, I think it was Madam Ellen or Madam Roland, maybe it's the same person, that was saying, what's the application of this? Somebody asked like 2 classes ago, and that is what we are discussing now. The application is what we have just discussed. It will save costs, it will avoid overshipping, it will save your cost of keeping those items, all those concepts of inventory. You will save those costs. Even if we know that there is emergency, we are anticipating, you are your own. No? When you do those ones, you are your own as a businessman. We're not speaking. That one is just to tell you that there are types of inventory. It is not saying that it is the other size that you are bringing in. So that is it. So in real life application, the annual demand, you have an idea of where you work. What is the annual demand of that thing that you keep, that you bring out one after the other? How many do you use in a year? Then how much do you pay per order? How much do you pay for every order that you make? Then how much do you use as your holding cost? We have discussed holding costs earlier. How much do you use to keep them? How much do you use? What's the alternative name for holding costs that I told you earlier?
Carrying costs.
Carrying costs, exactly. So practically, you can just get items in your different organizations and compute them and see that this is what you need for you to avoid, for you to get the actual order size, for you to avoid wastage, for you not to overship. I like that word. So I think we should be preparing to round off. Then inventory challenges, inconsistent tracking, using physical tracking of inventory techniques, spanning many application and sheets is lengthy, unnecessary, and prone to mistakes. So it could be one of the challenges. That's when you don't digitize it. Then warehouse efficiency, receipts and put away selection, all these labor-intensive procedure in the administration of at least the efficiency of the warehouse, if it is not, if it is questionable. So one of the ways to check it is the receipt and put away selection, the packaging, and so if all this packaging in the warehouse, if the receipts thing, if you are still keeping what you are not supposed to keep, it could be a challenge in the warehouse. Then if your data is not accurate, it could also be a challenge. When the demand is changing, it is also a challenge. Then when the visibility is not really high, it is also a challenge. With these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you about the inventory planning and control that we have in the outline.